And just check this works. So, hi, my name's Craig Porteous. I'm a principal consultant and I work with Advancing Analytics. I'm also a data platform MVP. You can get in touch with me on all the details on the first slide there, and I'll show them at the end as well. And I'm going to talk about Chocolatey and how you can automate the next when installing things. So if you've not heard of Chocolatey before, or you've just not had a chance to use it yet, it's a package manager for Windows, and that gives you an easy and fast way to install your applications without going to countless websites, downloading installers, and going through wizards of, yep, that's fine, standard locations, etc., and who knows how many reboots as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'll give you some headline points, some of the most important parts. I'll run through a couple of the commands which I use most regularly and that are probably most relevant. And then we'll do a quick demo so that you can see it in action. And hopefully that'll be enough to convince you to go and check it out at least. So to start off with, it works from the command line. So you can run this in a command prompt, you can run it in PowerShell, you can execute these Chocolatey commands from a file as well. So it's very, very good for automation. And you can check it out at chocolatey.org on the URL at the bottom. Importantly, it's free and it's open source, or I should say it's free for individuals and it's open source, but I'll come back to that. It's all based around a community repository. So you can go to the repository and find whatever application or program or tool that you're looking for. The repository, I believe, has got over 6,000 applications which are passing checks and they're live at the moment. If you don't find what you're looking for or you want to add something yourself, then you can create your own packages as well. And you can build in dependencies on other applications if that's required. And that really opens up the ability for you to contribute to the community as well. For more complex situations, say you're installing SQL Server locally and you want some non-default configuration set, you can pass parameters to packages, which allows you to do that custom installation part when installing things. So let's have a look at some commands. First one, it really is as simple as choco install and then the name of the app. Once you've done the initial installation and there's commands, there's how-tos, there's lots of different scenarios. If you're working on an offline server, if you're working behind firewalls, there's lots of ways to get Chocolatey installed and all the details are on their website. But once you're there, it's choco install and then the name of the app. And there's switches that you can add to that as well. A couple of the favorite ones that I use all the time is -y, which will just accept all the prompts that pop up. So saying, do you want to run this script? Are you sure? And also accept license, which is fairly self-explanatory. And that just means you can kick off the installation of multiple applications and walk away and do something else. You've also got choco install, and then you can do multiple apps at the same time. And again, you can add those same switches at the end of that, so you can install multiple applications in one go. Generally speaking, I like to do individual commands for each one, and then I can just track them a bit easier and add and remove applications as my requirements change. You can also pick out specific versions. So if you have something like Python, for example, you want a specific version of it, you can add that on at the end. And I'll show you some details of where you can find that information on the Chocolatey website. One of my favorite ones is Choco Upgrade All. If you run that, that will upgrade all of the applications that you've installed with Chocolatey in one go. So kick that off, walk off, get yourself a cup of coffee or a tea or some lunch, come back and all your applications are upgraded or updated. There's also Choco Uninstall if you want to remove anything that you've installed already. So let's have a look at what that or how that works. I've got a virtual machine here and I'm just running this from a command prompt. I've got this set as an elevated command prompt, so I'm running it as an administrator. You don't need to do that for most installations, but if you try and run a Chocolatey package and you're not set as administrator, it will warn you to say if this requires elevated permissions, it might not work, it might fail. So here I'm just installing Azure Data Studio, and I've got my switches there for Y to accept prompts and accept a license as well. And I can just run that. And what that does is it's already installed. Excellent. So I can add the force at the end as well. And that will go away. It'll download it if I don't already have it. It will verify that it's in an approved state. So it'll take the most recent approved version that you can see there. It'll download, and then it'll check that the hashes match in terms of what's downloaded and what's stored or what they've referenced. And then install it. So there's lots of checks and balances there to make sure you're installing what you expect to install. While that's running away, I'll show you the Chocolatey website. This is the community repository I was talking about, and you can search it, just have a look through the apps, or you can search for specific packages. I actually maintain the Power BI desktop package. So you can find that here, and you can install with just Choco install Power BI. It is the absolute bane of my life because it updates on a monthly basis and I don't yet have it automated. So I'm having to automate that manually all the time, which is a lot of fun. But you can go back and you can look at the version history. You can pick out specific versions. You can see how many times they've been downloaded. And from those specific versions, it gives you the command of how to actually install that specific version if you wanted to do that. It's also important to note that this is the community repository. It's intended for individuals. For organizations, there is a business license tier which allows them to create their own repositories where they can control what applications people are able to install. They can also control the versions of those applications. So if they've approved this specific version of Power BI, for example, but nothing beyond it, then they can force people to only install that one. And that's usually a good approach to do that within organizations. The community version is rate limited as well in some aspects. If you're in an organization trying to install apps on 1,500 machines, it can put a strain on the community infrastructure, essentially. So coming back to this, I can see it's installed, it's done, Azure Data Studio, and that's fine. That's just one application. I also maintain a couple of these lists, which is just zoom in on this. Yep, there we go. I maintain this list of all the applications that I regularly install. So I break them down into tools. These are things that I'll install on most machines. The first thing everyone does is install Firefox or Chrome to get rid of Internet Explorer, or Edge isn't so bad these days. You've also got development tools. I'm installing Visual Studio Code. I'm installing extensions for Visual Studio Code as well. The PowerShell extension. I've also got the Python extension here as well. And all I need to do is hit F5 and I can run that, all of them, and I can go away and do something else, or I can do something on that machine while that's all installing in the background. So it's really great for, say you're a data engineer like myself, or you're a DBA, or maybe you're a data scientist or BI developer or anything in between. You've probably got that list of apps where you can't do without these programs, and then that sort of grows over time where you've got a longer list that you use rarely. And when you have to rebuild a machine or create a new development machine, or you need to help a colleague provision a new machine, can often lose at least a day going through all of the applications. Where are they? How do I find them? And how do I download them, etc., etc. And that just saves you that pain. So it saved me hours, and I hope it'll do the same for you. So check it out at chocolatey.org. If you want to get in touch, that's my details, and you can find that list of packages on my presentations repo on GitHub. And that's me. Thank you very much.